have a very big concern. With the rate that we are going, it looks a little bit similar to how US healthcare system evolved. And I'm very scared that one day Malaysia's healthcare will look like how the US is. Why? Hello, welcome back to another episode of Mr. Money's Raw Thoughts. In this series, I'm going to share with you my thoughts, raw, uncut, unfiltered, so everything directly from my brain to you. So that's what makes this series exciting. Now, last episode, we talked about Fashion Valet, how it affects the startup ecosystem. We talked about the public reaction and some of my thoughts about it. But that particular episode, right, it doesn't really affect your pocket because everything is a little bit high up there, kan. But today's episode, we are going to dive down into one topic that will affect your wallets. And we are talking about insurance premium hike. This issue is really one that's concerning because it has an immediate effect on our daily life. And if it continue this way, what happened is that Malaysians will not be able to be insured. We can't afford to even buy insurance. And we all know that our public healthcare system cannot support all that, and if we can't afford insurance, that's going to be a huge problem for all of us. So I do have a special concern regarding this. And number two, also because I started my career in the insurance industry, so therefore I'm quite familiar with the products and the evolution of it, and that's why it has a special place in my heart. Over the past few years, we have seen insurance premium increasing. Ever since COVID time, it's been increasing, I think almost every year, and people have been making a lot of noise about it. But until last year, it became worse. We started seeing that insurance companies saying that because of medical inflation, premium may need to go up by about 40%. That's quite a lot of money. It means that if you're paying 200 ringgit a month for insurance, let's say medical insurance, you will need to pay 300 ringgit, close to 300 ringgit. And that is crazy for most people, right? What's the reason behind it? Well, standard. They say that Malaysia's medical inflation is higher than any other country. And that's true. In Southeast Asia, Malaysia medical inflation is one of the highest. Like double digit. If I'm not wrong, it's about more than 12%, right? And our neighboring company like Singapore is actually lower. So why? Well, the answer that they gave was because medical technology. Hospitals all say medical technology advanced, so it became more expensive. And this got me thinking, because it's like, does that mean the Panadol that I eat 5 years ago is less effective? The Panadol I eat today is more expensive, that's why it's more effective, so I pay more? Doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, I mean, there should be some increase in price, but how big the increase should be and how big is this advancement that it demands such an increase in price? So, I guess because I'm not the only one thinking about it, there are other parties that are thinking about it as well. That's why there was this independent study that was deployed. If I'm not wrong, it could have been working together with different authorities as well and big companies. After studying more than 30,000 hospital bills between 2021 to 2023, here's what they found. The price between the hospital bill of someone who's insured versus uninsured is significantly different. We are talking about more than 2 times. Just take a look at dengue. Insured patients pay 4,978 ringgit, while uninsured patients pay only 1,288 ringgit. Here we are talking about close to 4 times. Pneumonia treatment. Insured patients are charged 6,859 ringgit compared to 2,654 ringgit for uninsured patients. Accident victims. They took an average for broken leg. The cost was 200,000 at private hospital for insured patient, but 70,000 at Hospital Chancellor Tunku Muris for uninsured patient. Okay, some people say this is very extreme Yeah, okay, fair. Now, last one, cataract treatment. Insured patient are billed 6,000 while uninsured patient pay 3,000. Now, while the first 3, I cannot say much, but the last thing, cataract treatment, I can testify to it to a certain extent. Why? Because this was one of those things that insurance company made some change during the time when I was still an Activision. So I entered the insurance industry in 2012. And a few years later, I remember they came out with a limit to say that cataract surgery maximum was 6,000 ringgit. Maximum 6,000 ringgit. Last time, it was as per charge, which means whatever doctor charge, you pay. But suddenly they came out with a limit. So many of my clients at the time weren't very happy. Not that their policy will change, but the newer clients weren't very happy. They said, how come suddenly got a new limit there? And here's what I found. Because during that time also, I assisted with some claims. I went to many private eye clinic, and here's what I realized. The first question they ask you is, are you insured or not? And if you're not insured, the charges is actually only about 2,000 plus. But if you're insured, you want to claim, it will be 6,000 ringgit. Why? Because that time onwards, they knew that's the range. And what happened was the insurance company decided, you know what, we're going to put an end to this or kind of control it by putting a limit. And what happened? People definitely not happy. But when policyholders are not happy or normal people, we are not happy, who do we blame at the point? We blame insurance company. Now, the point I want to say is this, right? I guess when they say medical inflation is very big in Malaysia, yeah, that is very true. But for what reason? Is it truly because of advancing medical technology? I think it goes way more than that. Now, so everyone right now is probably asking this question. Wow, so who's to blame? Is it insurance company, hospital, insurance agent, doctors, right? Because Peter, you did a video the other day. You say that a doctor earn a lot of money, Some of the doctor earn 100 over 1,000 ringgit. Maybe let's unpack this whole thing, in my opinion. Again, it's my personal opinion. It may not be true and it may be only from my limited knowledge. But here's what happened. Now, think about it this way. Let's start with the first people that we can look at. It's actually insurance company. If you think about it, insurance company, firstly, are they here to help you? Well, they are in the business of helping, but helping also means that they need to make money because ultimately they are a business. It doesn't mean that they are charity. So they cannot be helping you without making money. So a lot of people tell me this one thing, Hey Peter, you say insurance company are very good. They always help people, but they try to make money off me. And then when I'm sick, they don't let me buy insurance. And they charge us so expensive, blah, 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 that kind of things, right? I want to tell you this one thing. Insurance company need to make money. They need to pay their shareholders. The business need to grow on. Now, they are not a charity. They are here to do business with you. It's just that their business is to help you to manage risk. Now, think about it. If tomorrow you find an insurance company, right, the premium is cheaper. But then, the thing is this. The insurance company every year lose money. Every year come out, insurance company lose money. You dare to buy or not? I can almost tell you won't dare buy. Because if the company every year lose money, how sure are you that they can pay? They can pay if let's say you really go into claim, right? You also takut kan? So, that's the first thing. We need to understand that. Now, I'm not helping insurance company. They have their problem. Now, but what I want to say is this. For the insurance company, they are facing one thing. Their whole goal is to ensure that when you go into hospital, you are happy and I pay for your claims, I pay for a medical bill, and when you walk off, you are happy. End of story. Like that, you got no complaint. Now, because of that, what happened is that hospital have the next issue. When it comes to private hospital today, there's so many private hospitals out there. So many different brands out there. They all need to be competitive, right? So what they do is that they try to compete with better service and all the different kind of things to make you happy. Because these days people, just talk about it, giving birth. How many people out there are willing to give birth in a government hospital? Many people, if they can, they want to go private. Why? Because better facility, everything better. You go government hospital, the nurse will scold you. You go private hospital, you scold the nurse, right? Yeah, the more expensive one, really you scold the nurse. And sometimes nowadays, hospitals are like hotel they damn nice to stay one way. Yeah, perfect, right? Yeah, I went to Sunway Hospital the other day. Oh, wow, wonderful, right? I feel like I'm walking in a hotel. Pantai, all these different kind of hospitals. I really feel like I'm walking in a hotel. Now, so all of them need to compete, right? And naturally means that they need to make profit. To make profit, just like any business, they will price it in the range that they want to. Simple today I give you luxury treatment, I charge you luxury End of story, true or not? And for you, as a consumer, if today you have a choice that when you go into a hospital, you don't need to pay yourself. Someone else pay for you. You want to go in a hospital where you're treated like a king, or you want to go to a hospital where you're treated like a normal person? Obviously, you want to be treated like a king, right? So you go into an expensive hospital. And when the hospital charge the bill, how many of you actually do look through your whole bill and then start questioning the hospital? Look, you see, did they give me the bag to vomit? The bag, you charge me 15 ringgit for the bag. What is this? Do you argue with hospital? I've not seen people argue with hospital about payment before. True or not? I myself don't argue with hospital because at the time when you're already in the hospital, you're already so stressed already. Number two, you don't have the subject matter expertise. You won't go and negotiate and say, usually if I go pharmacy, I buy that vomit bag, actually, I don't even need to buy. I go Tesco, so buy a rubbish bag, 80 cents, or less than 10 cents. You won't go and argue with the hospital. You won't go and argue. All your concern is what? When can I leave? When can I get well? When you're sitting at the bed there, waiting for your checkout from the hospital, sound like a hotel now, right? For a discharge from the hospital. If it's slow, what do? the first thing the hospital usually will tell you is, the insurance company still don't want to release payment. What do you say? Your first answer will definitely be this, why my insurance so slow? Why my insurance like that? I did pay for my insurance. Can you just pay? Like that, right? True or not? So what happens is that they have to release it fast to be a good insurance provider. Now here's the problem. If a hospital were to charge too much, let's say your vomit bag is 15 ringgit, they question the hospital, you will scold the insurance company because why you don't want to pay faster so that I can leave. And hospital will also like, well, it's my right to charge whatever price I want, right? Because why, just like people say, you drink Coca-Cola in Mamak store is 2 ringgit, you go out to a hotel drink Coca-Cola is 20 ringgit ma, and here is hotel price ma, so you pay hotel price lor, like that ma. So everyone also got their reason. So what will insurance company do? Just release the payment lor, close one eye whether you overcharge me or not. Anyway, you already pay premium ma, and even if I tell you, hey bro, I need to fight with the hospital first because hospital is charging a little bit too much. So if I fight with them, you're gonna wait here a little bit longer. You okay or not? You're also not okay, right? What are you gonna say? Hey bro, that's your problem with the hospital. That's not my problem. Then we come down to the next issue. So I say, okay, in order to protect you, right, we decided that we will do this one thing where we will scrutinize the bill, or either we will deal with the hospital later. Then the hospital also angry. That's why you see, right, sometimes you go see hospital at the time, some of the doctor will tell you they're very angry with certain insurance company because they release payment too late. Because they keep scrutinizing the bill. Then they will tell you, hey, don't use this insurance because they scrutinize the bill a lot. And then maybe certain hospital will say, I don't want to make them my panel insurance already. So if you come to my hospital, you cannot use XXX insurance company brand because they are not my panel insurance. Then what? Then you are going to be like, wow, this insurance company that I use so little panel, I don't want to use. You see or not? For the insurance company to fight for you, right, is detrimental to them. Here's the problem. Hospital, they have their own reasoning because, like I say, if you buy a Coke in a hotel, pay 20 ringgit you buy Coke in Mama, you get 2 ringgit Yeah, so every hospital got their own positioning. I know some hospital position themselves so much like a hotel that in the end, certain insurance company also don't even want to be their panel. And sometimes because people still keep going, they don't mind also. They don't care. So end of the day, they only serve the very rich who can pay themselves, or either you are insured. So this is what happened in the whole ecosystem. Now, people are also asking, then is it because of doctors are charging so much? I used to think that way, but after that, what I realized that actually for medical doctors, they have a reasonable charge, right? Which means that they have to follow a rate one. They cannot simply charge you the amount. Now, there's certain tricks that can break it down. For example, let's say when they do a scope, the scope generally is say 200 ringgit. But because when I extend it further to your throat, I can charge it as nose scope and throat scope, although it's one procedure like that. But it cannot go too far. You get me? It cannot go too far. I can say you see me one consultation for nose, but since I see your throat, I see that as 2 consultations. Okay but usually that doesn't happen But my point is that it cannot go very far. If you look through the whole hospital bill, you also realize that very often the doctor's charges is not significant. So the last time my nephew entered into a hospital, because he fell down, cut his forehead, 11,000 ringgit in a hospital in Puchong. The 3 doctors attended to him, their total charge is 3,009 for one night in the hospital. 3 doctors, 3 of their charges add together 3,009. Hospital charges is the remaining that makes up the 11,000. Yep. And that's what we are talking about here. Now, I understand that doctors should charge. And I think so far doctors, yes, there are some bad players, but many of them, I believe, are quite okay. And you have to understand also just like the hospital's logic, if I am gonna have a hotel treatment for my staff, a hotel treatment for my patient, takkan I charge government hospital price meh? You think my bed no need buy one? The marble at the front there no need buy one? See? All this comes down to their pricing strategy. Same thing with the doctor, right? To be a specialist, you know how long they spend? You know how much money they need to spend on their education? And you know that kind of stress that every time when you cut someone, it's life and death in your hand. So everyone got their justification, the point is. But we as the people also got an issue. Like I say, we don't really care. What we care is, you let me go into the best hospital, you let me exit the hospital the fastest. Imagine if, let's say, tomorrow your insurance company tell you this, certain hospital you cannot go. The reason being is because they are charging because of luxury, not necessity, like that. You also don't buy the insurance, what? So you see, this is a whole systematic issue, Another thing, right, I also want to add on. Over the years of meeting many people, right, I've also seen people who, because they bought an insurance, they simply claim one. And literally in that report, it also says the claim rate is actually quite high. Okay, let me tell you this story. Last time I was a insurance agent at the time, right? There was one of this product called Hospital Allowance, which means that if you stay in the hospital one night, you get paid to cover you for the loss of income. Because think about it, right? If today you are a working person, one day not working means one day loss of income, true or not? So if you stay in the hospital to give you a good plan, let's say today you stay one night, I give you 200 ringgit lah. Why? Because to cover your loss of income, what? That's a good idea, right? You know what happened? A lot of people, when they pay for their insurance 2,400 ringgit, they decided that 1 year they should admit 12 days. Why 12 days, 200 ringgit a night, 2,004. So what they do is that they'll find whatever excuse they can to go and stay for 12 days. And they will take the money to pay for the insurance premium. And this was a known, open, secret trick, that end of the day, even insurance agent promoted this to their customers to encourage them to do it so that they get free insurance. I get more sales and you don't need to pay. And you know what happened? When it was discovered, when it became so rampant, insurance company had to remove this particular benefit. And so nowadays, you don't really see companies who provide hospital allowance anymore. So my point is this. We ourselves, as policy holders, many of us are also bad actors. And that's why this whole thing is an ecosystem issue. It's a whole systematic issue that goes way beyond just insurance company or not, or hospital or not, or doctors or not, and ourselves or not. Today, it has turned into a whole different creature. I mean, in the way when it takes blood already, it's very hard to go back. And that's what's happening. Now, can we then say this one thing? Hey, why not, in order to intervene this, let us implement transparent charges. We control the cost of hospitals. You can set a standard cost also. Total medical charges, including hospital fee for cataract, can only be X amount. Then you cap it from there. Every year only allow a certain amount of inflation on the bundle of the bill, so that there will not be so many added in stuff. What do I mean by that? How the bill increases is because, like I say, you go into the hospital, you sit on the bed there, suddenly you want to vomit, you call the nurse bring you a bag, the bag is 15 ringgit. Suddenly you tell the nurse, ada darah sikit, the nurse bring you a gauze, they charge you the whole pack of gauze. Now, there was one talk, I think I read a Gallon article, they were talking about why not they do bundle charges or something. I don't really know what it means, but what am I suspecting is the idea, like how certain countries does it, is the whole treatment, including hospital charge, this is the rough estimation amount. Yes, there will be a play around kind of thing, like let's say 50,000 to 60,000. So that 50 to 60 depend on whether you go a hotel-like hospital or a more mid-range hospital, you choose yourself. Now, we can say that. But if we do that, then what will happen? We got another big issue. Nowadays, there's a lot of hospital opening, right? There's a lot of investment being poured into healthcare. And all these hospitals open, most of them are very grand. You are telling hospitals this one thing, we're going to limit your earning. In the capital world, when you do that, it's not good. Why? For many reasons. Number one, taxation is going to be lower. Number two, the people that are not happy are usually powerful. And that's the problem. It's worse when you give already and you take back than you don't allow from the start. We are at the stage we give already. And here's where the complication is. How do we then backtrack? Now, I have a very big concern because with the rate that we are going, it looks very, or at least a little bit similar to how US healthcare system evolved. And I'm very scared that one day Malaysia's healthcare will look like how the US is. To give you a picture, healthcare is one of the reasons why I will never want to migrate to US. Do you know that the number one reason for people going to bankruptcy in US is actually medical bills? They can't afford to pay and that's how they declare bankruptcy. Why? Because that was exactly what happened. Hospitals and pharmaceuticals know that they can charge more in the US market because insurance companies are willing to pay. That's how it works. And they just keep pushing it. And today, this is what we are talking about when we are talking about charges. To give a picture of it, in US, A vial of insulin is $300. Means one jab of insulin. In Malaysia, it's 25 to 50 US dollars. That's more than 10x different. Imagine if you're in US today and you got diabetes. You need to take an insulin jab every day. If you're talking about once a day, that's $9,000. That's more than anyone can earn. If you need to take 2 times a day, that's 18,000. How on earth can people afford that? I hope Malaysia don't get to this place, right? And that's why it's very important that our government starts stepping in to actually implement controls, measures, as much as they can. Because what will happen is that if we don't go with this, when the prices become so expensive, you either can't afford insurance or our public healthcare system will just break. Like break, literally break. My mom is a patient in UMMC, and recently her bills has increased significantly as well. I think more than double. I think there was a report that was done as well. A newspaper has kind of covered it. And the more I look at it, the more I see that if we continue with this, we are going to be in really bad position. If you ask me, does insurance company want this to happen? I don't think so. Can I say that? Is there any party that favor for this? I do not know. But what I can say is, it's definitely not a sustainable environment. So what can we do? Well, I think the first thing that I can do is actually to standardize the cost for most of the illnesses. I really think that probably one of the best ways is actually just come up with a standard cost, do a bundling strategy. I don't know whether do their bundling mean that way, but I can't pick that up already from there. The whole idea is, why not set a standard cost of treatment, including those supportive stuff like vomit bag, gauze, whatnot, that kind, so that there's a standardized number. Now, once you have the standardized number, what happens is that you let the private hospitals compete to meet those pricing and let the one who's able to serve most people win. I think the next thing is that maybe it's time to eradicate the whole idea about panel hospital, panel insurance, right? Because this panel thing makes it very difficult. Got a lot of, doesn't look very transparent, doesn't encourage competitiveness. I feel like if we can remove this panel thing would be good. And come on, today we are in an advanced world, right? I am pretty sure there can be a system that is built so that you don't even need this whole panel thing. There can be a consolidated system. The whole industry can come together and share it. So that's my opinion of the whole thing. It's kind of like, think about it like QR like that, right? All the banks came together. They decided to build the infrastructure together to build a better ecosystem. And I think maybe you can also consider a model like Singapore, where they have, if I'm not wrong, it's called Medicare or Medisave, I can't remember. But where part and parcel of their overall, our Malaysia is EPF, theirs one is CFP, is used to take care of medical costs. And when governments are the biggest insurer, then it's easier to deal with hospital, betul kan? Because then it's direct. And then there's a lot more influence and a lot more power. So that is some of the things that we can look at. But again, that's not my pay grade kan. I'm just a simple and normal guy. I don't really know things at a very big policy perspective. But I think whether we like it or not, moving ahead, in order to have things more sustainable, there needs to be a lot more transparency, a lot more cost control. And if we are able to do that, I want to tell you guys first, for those of you who are policies holder, you will be facing issues as well. So don't complain too much when it's a little bit slow, because allow the company to scrutinize the bill and play our role. Don't simply go and claim this, claim that unnecessarily, because end of the day, it will just trickle down and you will end up paying for it. Just like our current situation right now. To give an example, if you notice right now, your insurance, when it pays for claims, right, it tells you very upfront that if you're hospitalized, most of the time you're only allowed 2 visits by the doctors per day, Cause why? Last time also they got incident where doctor just keep coming and visit 2, 3, 4 times unnecessarily. And what happened is that they charge unnecessarily, because every time the doctor come and say hi to you in your ward, actually they have to charge one. So you don't think that hi is free. The hi is a few $100, okay? Yeah. So what happens is that when they start limiting that, doctors really only go when it's necessary also. Now, again, I'm not saying all doctors take advantage. I'm saying that there are some bad apples. Now, and I'm saying that when you are a patient, when you are a policyholder, you also have to understand where this whole thing is coming from, because by implementing cost structures, if government were to implement that, all the players have to play together, and not everything is very smooth. And for example, like say intraocular lens, cataract, when they limited it, people started making noise. Why? Because some of the hospital actually charge up to 10,000 ringgit. And those were their favorite hospital. And suddenly now, when they limit it 6K, then the favorite hospital make noise. And then they also make noise. Why you don't let me claim? Now, the whole goal is when we limit that 6,000 ringgit, what happened is that you will know that it's overcharging. Then what happened is you will have to go to find another hospital, and you will drive the market price back to 6,000. But this effect will only happen after a few years. And so what happened is you will complain, you will complain a lot. That's all. So can we all complain together and then don't affect them? I do not know. Yeah. But these are some of the issues. That's why big change is always systematic, and it's always really, really difficult, right? Now, before we move on, I also know that in our industry, there were people who were concerned that actually spoke up about this. I think some insurance company CEOs actually came up and talked about it. Even Bank Negara took a more active initiative to do something about it. And I want to highlight a few things. According to an article by Code Blue, there are some initiatives by our government to actually mitigate this whole issue. I think first one is when it comes to people who are 60 years old and above, they have delayed the premium increase. So it means that if you're in the 60-year-old and above range, you will likely not see a premium increase this year. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to increase. It just means that by 2026, it will increase. It's just that it's being delayed. Now, number two, the people who actually lapsed their insurance policy because they couldn't afford to pay the price difference, apparently they are trying to do something where it won't be lapsed, it will be reinstated. And they are trying to make ITOs, which is insurance takafu operators, to come up with alternative product that is cheaper than the one in the current market, so that you can shift over. And they are trying to implement it in this way. When you shift over, you don't need to redo your whole underwriting. You can go to a cheaper product, stuff like that lah. So I can see that Bank Negara is really trying to do something, right? But what I want to say is this: ultimately, at the end of the day, many of those things that I talk about is actually just a band-aid to a bigger problem. So it's gonna deal with the problem for a while, but it's not really gonna come a long-term solution. If you jump to a new product and they still charge like that, end of the day, this problem will come up again. Yeah. So what am I trying to say is this: I am a believer of capitalism. I believe that people should be rewarded according to their effort. I think there should be a free market where people make money as well, businesses can make money. But I highly believe that people should make money responsibly. And all the parties need to come together and play their role to do business for good. What do I mean by that? I think the main drive for every business, yes, is to be profitable. But the end goal is not profitable for the sake of money alone, but to be able to benefit the community via growth, whether through job creation, through creating better service and solutions, and think for the people. Now, that's a fine line. Why? Because if you were to cap a business from making money, let's say you say that to be a billionaire, it's illegal, then people may not have the motivation to come up with great solutions, because people are people. So the whole thing is very chicken and egg situation, right? And when it comes to this kind of business like healthcare, right, when you're making money on people's pain in that sense, people are generally not in a good place to make a very wise decision at that point. Because put it this way, if you're admitted into a hospital or you something wrong with you want to go to the nearest hospital, regardless of whether is it expensive, cheap or whatever not. You want to get the best treatment. I've never seen someone who actually told the doctor, hey, doctor say your surgery is 16K. Hey, doctor, can be cheaper a bit lah, the leg like that. Put less one screw. No one says such thing, because you don't even know whether less one screw will kill you or not. So sometimes I feel that it's important to charge fairly, to make money in a responsible way where we're not over, in such a way where ultimately it comes to the benefit of the society. Easier said than done, but that's a reality. Government can put in some measures, but when government put into measures, then it becomes a regulation. That's as good as communism sometimes also. Okay lah, I'm a bit far-fetched if I say communism. But I would say that whether we like it or not, I guess in the area of healthcare, as much as I'm a believer of free flow and free capital and so on, I think that's one area that government need to have more intervention in. There needs to be more policy surrounding it to safeguard the sustainability of rakyat's future. I don't want to be in a country where in future my children can't afford to be insured. Because I can work very, very hard in my life for the last 30, 50 years, and I know just one thing goes wrong with my health. 30 to 40 years of effort can all go into that one single medical bill. And I think that's a very sad world. That will be a very, very sad world. Now, before I go, I think the only thing that I can share with you guys is some practical tips on how to reduce your insurance premium. So I think number one is this. You've probably heard of co-payment. If you notice, since last year onwards, government Bank Negara talked a lot about co-payment. Insurance company talk a lot about co-payment. So what is co-payment? Co-payment is basically when you go into a hospital, say your bill is 10,000 ringgit, you choose how much you are going to pay out of that portion. Say your co-payment amount is 1,000 ringgit. It means your bill 10,000, you pay 1,000. Now, you'll be thinking to yourself, wow, why want to have this? Why you implement such thing? Let the insurance pay for me fully can already lah. Because I already pay insurance what. Inconvenient me some more, make me pay money some more, not fair. What happened is that people without a co-payment tend to claim more. This is what happened. Why? Because you already pay fully what. And you don't need to pay what. So a little bit, let's just get admitted lah. So I guess we are the ones who are also responsible. So what happens is that insurance company and Bank Negara say, okay, we're going to implement this, have co-payment. Because with co-payment, you're going to claim less. And because you're going to claim less, I can charge you less for a premium. So choose a medical card that's higher co-payment if you can afford it. As much as you can afford it, go for the one that's comfortable for you. Sometimes it can be 2,000, can be 3,000, can be 5,000 also. The higher your co-payment, the more cheaper your insurance premium will be, because generally many of the bill are below 10k, very easily pass. So those are big bulk of bill. If anything less than 10k you're not going to claim, your premium will be rather cheap because they know you only claim for big bills. So it's a bit of a give and take, right? But if you want to claim even a 500 ringgit bill, then you're going to pay more for premium because chances are, put it this way, let's be honest. How many of you all go to a panel clinic by your company to get vitamin C? That's true, right? How many of you all go to a panel clinic to get extra medicine because you know that it's free? Well, that's the problem of irresponsible policyholders. And many of us are guilty of that. Now, so to save premium, I would say that the most practical is go for a higher co-payment plan. Number two, I think it's very important that moving ahead, you start to be smarter in looking at your insurance plan. Don't just buta listen. Don't just everything also depend on the agent to tell you. Agents, don't be angry at me. I know they're good agent, they're bad agent, right? So I'm saying that some, the more bad apples ones, don't do it like that lah. And for you as a consumer, be smart a bit lor. Try to compare, try to look around, find a product that's suitable. Because the truth is, when it comes to insurance product as well, there's a lot of misconception in the market one. A lot of people thought insurance is like that because what people say, but very often it's not true. There's actually quite a lot of misinformation when it comes to products out there. So the only way is to be smarter, wiser. Yeah, and for those who are using an investment linked plan, I guess one of the easiest ways is to allocate less portion into investment, allocate more of the portion into medical, so that you don't have to pay more, but you just need to readjust the allocation when it comes to your insurance plan, okay? To go into detail, that when you talk to your agent or you talk to your planner, right? Because every product is different. Now, I guess those are the most important 2 tips that I can share with you. And ultimately, for those of you who are thinking about cancelling your insurance, this is what I want to tell you. I don't think it has come to a point that you should cancel it if you can afford it. Because put it this way, Mamak store also increased our teh tarik price by 50 cents. If you're still going out to drink the teh tarik, although it's not worth it, because of that enjoyment, I think the security of having an insurance is still more important than the teh tarik 50 cent. You get my logic? It's not until to a level where it's totally unaffordable for some people, okay? Not for all people. But my point is that unless it's really so unaffordable, you really have no choice. Speak to your insurance company. But if you still have a choice, while you fight for a better price, keep your insurance because your health is still very important, okay? So that's all about it. My thoughts on insurance price hike. I hope Malaysia government can come up with a better solution. I hope in future we'll see more policies being implemented to regulate the prices. And I hope that this could lead to a better future for our children, not one that is bad, where insulin is 300 USD. So thank you very much. If you enjoyed this episode, share with us your comments. Tell us your thoughts about insurance premium hike. Share with us what do you think the government can do. Share with us maybe even the price increase from your insurance. And if you like this series, do share it with your friends. And tell us in the comments as well by giving us a thumbs up emoji so we know that this is a series that you would like us continue producing. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you very much.